Hi, this is my first video and I'm going to be talking about my psych ward experience and why I was admitted and how I proceeded with treatment. I was admitted because I was experiencing voices and they were trying to get me to kill myself. And I started cutting again, which I know that's bad, but I don't recommend it to anyone. I'm pretty much going to be reading from a script because this is my first video and I'm kind of nervous. Once I got to the hospital, they put me in the ER, and I was waiting in a safe room where you can't hurt yourself or anything. And I stayed there overnight, and it was pretty boring. There wasn't much to do. They did let me have a magazine, but they wouldn't let me have anything else. Um, and the next day, I got admitted to the psych ward, which was really kind of nerve-wracking because I didn't really know what I was expecting. I met with the doctor, and he told me he didn't think I was bipolar, which I was being treated for bipolar disorder, and I was taking Symbiax for it. He didn't think I was bipolar because he said my mania wasn't strong enough or whatever. And he said the voices I was hearing wasn't a voice, it was a compulsion. So he thought I had OCD and a mood disorder. And then he prescribed me Abilify and Prozac. I'll give you a list of my symptoms. I'm energetic, but I bottle it up. I keep all my emotions inside, and it makes me really numb. I started cutting again. I was actually cutting in middle school, and I went to a phase where I stopped. I have a borderline eating disorder. Once again, in middle school, I was anorexic, and I pretty much stopped. But lately, I've been having trouble with eating. I don't know why. Well, actually, I do. I have a hallucination of this girl. She's really skinny and really pale, and sometimes she has blood on her face. And she'll tell me not to eat, or she'll tell me to cut, or she'll tell me to kill myself. And that's why I was in the ER. I also see shadows as a hallucination, and I also have the compulsions in my head with the voices, which I think it's her telling me to do stuff. That's how I see it. Something I found annoying was we had so much food to eat, and we had snacks like all the time, and the snacks were like 200 calories, and most of the time the snacks would be more than what I would eat in a day. That's what I found annoying though, but it was nice. The food wasn't too bad, and you got to pick what you wanted on the menu. I think the scariest part of being in there was when my friend Daniel, I changed his name for his personal reasons, so you can't find him. Um, he was a really nice guy, and we became pretty close. We were good friends, and then one night he wanted some more medication from the nurses, but they wouldn't give him anymore. And then he just started pitching a fit. He started throwing chairs, and he would break them, and he would throw them at the nurses, and he started cussing the nurses out. He started cussing out the nurses, and they finally had to get a security guard in, and the security guard had to handcuff him, and he started saying he was going to kill everyone. He was going to kill the police officers and his family. He's going to kill their families and their children. It was pretty scary. I was actually on the floor next to my bed. I was shaking and I was crying because I was so afraid. I felt really bad afterwards because I felt like I let him down because I couldn't be there for him, and I didn't want to be there because it was so stressful for me. I think that was one of the scariest experiences there, and I only stayed there for about a week. It was actually about 5 days. Another scary experience was when this girl, she was having a bad night, and she was sitting beside me, and all of a sudden she started screaming at the voices, and she ran off to her room, slamming doors, saying she was going to kill herself, and she wanted to be left alone. And I thought that was pretty scary because it was happening right beside me, and I didn't know what to do. It was really hard to react to. Other than that, I had some pretty positive experiences with group. Um, we talked about our goals, and we took it one day at a time, like what we were going to do that day and what we were going to do once we got out, like how our treatment would go, how we would live our lives. And it wasn't that stressful, and I found it easier to talk to people. And that's about it. You guys can ask me any questions, and I'm going to end the video here.